Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BCH. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that's more what you're looking for. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we've got a couple of things here that I want to just discuss before we jump into the mine accounts here. Now, this whole move to the downside, there's a couple of ways we can look at this. We can treat this as A, B, and then we're looking for the potential that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, we are still within the realms here. The reason I don't like this count so much anymore is we've actually come up to this 0.618 already, which is not a very common target area for fourth wave, though invalidation would only really be by coming back above this 384 region. So this is the least likely of the options in my opinion, just based off of the fact that this wave 3 didn't quite hit that 1618 and this wave 4 is so deep. There's a couple of things here which are making this less likely, though technically speaking, until we actually cross this 384 region, we could actually look for this to reverse to the downside, in which case we would be looking for these lower targets here, the 6454 to this 3923 as a fifth wave target, and then looking at this as a C wave, we have the 786 up here at the 6594, and then we have this 1 to 1 actually sitting at this 2749 level. So if we do see price continue to break down here, potentially we could actually look to hit some of these lower targets. Now, another way that we could look at this is that if we are treating this move slightly different, we could say that we actually have this as our A wave up, we have a corrective move down here, and then potentially we're looking for this C wave to the upside. So the C wave 1 to 1 is this 1880 level, and what we'd actually be looking for here is that rather than completing further back here, this move actually completes into this low here, and what we're looking at this as a starting move in this C wave. So this would be looking for that push to the upside. Now it is also possible that we could look at this as W, X, and Y. Now if we are looking at it in this way, we need to be careful, because if we do actually see a push up here that's just 3 waves, this could actually indicate that we still have continuation to the downside. We could see another drop down here where this whole move could be an A wave. We see this as a B, and then we see a C wave to the downside. So this 1 to 1 is actually sitting here towards a 6348. So we're going to discuss some of these potentials. We're going to go over that bullish one first and what would need to happen for us to actually see that play out. And then we need to just talk about what we need to be careful of here, where we could actually see continuation to the downside coming. Okay, so within the bullish count, what we are looking for is effectively, as long as we hold this 8732, what we could see is this is 1, 2, we'd see a bigger third wave up here, fourth and a fifth wave. Now we've actually come up and we've already hit this 1.618 level. So what I want to see here is more confirmation of this by actually developing a fourth wave. Now we can see that this wave 2, if this is a wave 2 here, is quite large. So what we'd be looking for is a equally as large fourth wave to develop. Now there isn't a lot of space for this to happen here. So it is always also possible that we could get something like this as 1, 2. We see this come up as a 1. We see a deeper wave 2, and then we see that push to the upside in a third. But at the moment, this is how I'm currently looking at it, treating it as a simple wave 3 until it actually shows differently. The way that we would actually start looking at this differently is if we actually see a move down past this 154. If we remain above that, I will still be looking for the potential to come down into this area here for this 234 to this 169, and looking to find support in this zone, looking for the potential of an additional fifth up here to this 451 to this 367 level. Now it's possible that this third wave is still not complete, so there's 2 ways that I'm currently looking at this. So we're going to come back in here onto the 4 hourly, and we're going to discuss these internals now. Now within this, what we have is the potential that within this lower region here, we have this as a 1, this is a 2, this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up into this high here, and then we would be looking for this as an additional fourth and a fifth. Now if this is the case, if I come up here into this higher area, we have this as 1, 2, 3. Now we actually came down just a little bit below this 50% level. What I'm looking for here is actually the potential to see a reversal to the upside. So if we do see 5 wave move develop up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially this could look to push us up into this $360 level to this 337 level. Now we always need to be careful when moves are extending like this. Potentially what we can see is a continuation. So if we do form something like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until we actually break this previous fourth wave, we can potentially look for continuation. Even within this structure here, potentially we could argue that we have another 1, 2 here, and then this starts to push up in a bigger way. So we need to be very careful. We need to wait for the confirmations on these. Otherwise, we can just continue pushing. Now, it is quite interesting because we do have a bit of a target area up here, which is got a few areas of interest. So I'm actually going to come back onto the daily here. So there are some swing highs in this level towards this 352, higher up here towards this 389 that I'm keeping an eye on. But as well as that, we do have a golden pocket that's sitting here between this 365 and this level here of this 340. 85. Now we also do have these two lines here, which are naked points of control. Now one of them is a monthly, the purple one, and the other is a weekly. I'm just keeping an eye out as a move up here one more time would potentially bring us into this zone and actually look to sweep these, and these usually tend to get filled, so we need to see if we actually see that push up there. As we can see here, if I zoom back in, we can see that this would bring us up into this area. If we are looking at this move slightly different, we could argue that the extension is somewhere else. Now, there are quite a few ways that we can look at this. This is the next most likely way for me, is that actually we've had an extension in this wave 1, and effectively we're going to see a couple more waves to the upside. So effectively we would have this as 1, 2. This would become 1, 2 here. This is still within this blue third wave. And what we'd be looking for here is pretty much the same idea as with the other count. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, our target area for this would be this 360 to this 337.50 area. That would bring us right back into that target box as we discussed. If we do actually hold support, like I said, above this previous fourth wave here, what we can see is that there could be extension in here where we still have some additional waves to the upside. Now, what I'd be looking for within this count effectively would be that we get this additional fourth and a fifth up here, and then we hold this previous fourth wave area. So if we continue to hold this previous fourth wave area, potentially what we could see is additional structure to the upside in 5 waves, looking for this 387 to this 361. Then if we find support again above this 259, we could actually see an additional wave up here, which pushes us up towards this 445 to this 399 level. So this would actually be saying that we're going to get a series of additional fourths and fifths here. Now, invalidation of this, which would be crossing these wave 1s that we have here, for the white one is here at this 248, for the blue count is at this 239, and at the yellow count is here at this 221. So if we're looking for these fourth waves after a push up, the next invalidation point would actually be this 239 price. Moving down below these levels would invalidate this idea of seeing the additional extension as we have it here. So we need to just keep an eye on this. There is potential here that we could still have another wave to the upside here, but we also need to be careful because sometimes when we have an extension like this, the extension might be somewhere else and we might, have it wrong. The thing that we have within this is that if we are looking at this as an extension in the wave 1, some common target areas that we actually have for this to complete is actually this 0.786 of the wave 1, this and this 618. So we've already hit this 618, but the structure isn't good in my opinion to say that we have a third and a fifth here, because if this is a third, it would be too short. The fifth wave would be longer than it, which is not allowed. So this is indicating that if we are extending out here and we do have an extension in the wave 1, then potentially we could actually look to push up a couple more times here, but I would be keeping an eye on this zone of this 372, particularly with this fifth wave. If we do get it playing to the upside, maybe we might actually fall short of this target and actually look to hit this lower area here instead. So going to be keeping an eye on that if we actually see these continuations here. Now, one thing I just want to discuss here is the bearish alternative, where we actually see a bigger breakdown. Now, what we need to be careful of is that if this is rather something like this, where we actually have this just as a flat correction, this could actually be indicating we're going to see more downside, where this becomes our A wave, this becomes our B wave, and then we actually see this as our C wave to the upside. Now, the reason why I'm having a look at this idea is that we actually rejected exactly off the 2.618 of this wave A. Now, it is possible, like I said, that we could have an additional fourth and a fifth here, which looks to push us up into the zone, but that still wouldn't be, over the top here if we're looking at this as a possible target area, as a flat. If we already moved up to this 2.618, a little bit more is not going to really change the idea. The difference would be here that if this is a flat correction like this, what we'd be looking for is a 3-wave move down and then potentially either continuation to the upside Alternatively, this might actually just start to roll over and we could actually come back and lose these lows of this 91.22 level. So we just need to be careful of that. If we are looking at that possibility that this is actually a flat, like I said, we could look to actually come back down in 3 waves, look to find support lower down here, in which case I think it would be quite likely for us to retest some of these lower levels here towards this 172, this 165, and then potentially some of these lower zones here. We do also, however, have a lot of naked points of control sitting down here in this little yellow box area, so I would be keeping an eye on that if we do see price start to fall off to the downside here. Some other areas of interest regarding naked points of control would be closer to where we currently are. We do have a daily naked point of control sitting at this 265 at this 242 level as well. There are 2 daily naked points of control sitting in this zone, as well as that we have a monthly one sitting down here towards this 193 level. So would be keeping an eye on that if we do actually see price come down into those zones. But then as we can see here within this yellow box area, we do have quite a cluster of daily naked points of control and 1 weekly one in there as well. So I would be mindful that if we do actually move down into that level, possibly we could actually look to sweep some of those zones. Now, looking above us, we do have this one here, which is sitting at this 452. So these are the monthlies, and this 593. As well as that, we do have a weekly one higher up here towards this 573 level. So I would be keeping an eye on that if we do actually see price move up into these zones, as well as this one on this $1,200 level. Although I do think that, you know, if we are looking at that more bullish case here, what we still need to see is something like this, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we get a 3-wave move down and then that continuation. Or alternatively, this becomes 1, 2. We get another 1, 2 here, come back and retest some lower levels, and then look for that continuation to the upside here. Ideally, what we want to see is something like this, where actually this whole move here becomes this wave 1. Then we see a retracement down into some of these lower levels here, between this 223 to this 120 level, and then looking for that possibility of that additional 3rd wave to the upside here. Looking at the daily CPR here, what we can see is that we've actually come down again, and we actually moved up from these central CPR lines, hit the target, this S4 target, and then now we've actually retraced. So we did find support here at this S2 line. If we fail to get back above these lines, potentially we could see price fall back down into some of these lower levels here between this 249 to this 239. However, if we do start to have a deeper sell-off here, we do have some targets here towards this 233, this 213, this level here, this 203, and this lower range here of this 182, which could be interesting to keep an eye on. Now, looking at the weekly CPR, what we can see here is that we have actually found support temporarily, at least on this S2 line. So this S2 line is here at this 289. If we do continue to hold this level, potentially what we could see is price play to the upside, which would align with the idea of our 5th wave up towards this to 359 level. So that would be towards that 360, I would say, is probably going to be quite likely if we do see price move up there. Now, if we do actually start to lose this zone, potentially we could actually see price come back down to this 242 level. And then we also do have these central lines sitting here between this 184 and this 162 level that could potentially offer us support. Now, if we do actually look at that possibility of breaking down in a bigger way, not that I think that it would happen all in this week, but the target area would be down here towards this 126 level as a R1 target, and then we have this one lower down here, this $57 as a R2. Now, as well as that, the monthly ones have all been met. It's not really worth showing them because we've already met all those targets. They're pretty much down here, same sort of idea as those weekly ones, where we've actually blasted through these and all these targets have been met. I would be interested, however, to see if we do actually break down here. We could look to find support, but once again, you know, we don't have a lot of time left on these monthly ones. I don't think that we're just going to have a direct drop to the downside like that, so I wouldn't really put too much emphasis on those levels. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.